Yo, what are you saying? Welcome back to ISOJ. 2 games last night, and I guess there's a lot of housekeeping to do, but we'll go through the easy ones. The Knicks got blown out by the Celtics. The Warriors lost to the Timberwolves because they don't have Steph. Let's talk about last night's games because the Pacers absolutely destroyed the Cleveland Cavaliers, and it wasn't even fun. Like, to be honest, I was watching this game and I was like, you know what? I got a little bit of time to kill. Sure, why not? After the second quarter, I was kind of just like, you know what? I'm done here. This series might go 2-2. Now that the Cleveland starting lineup is healthy again, they're all right. They can figure this out. Sadly, in this game, not the case. You should probably like the video and subscribe if you're here. That'd be cool. Have a good one. So, Indiana shot 54% from 3 at halftime. That's like the Cleveland Cavaliers recession indicator, because that's the sign to be like, oh no, we're not working. This isn't working. The Cleveland Cavaliers ran a zone in game 3, which gave the Pacers some problems because the Pacers couldn't find the bottom of the net from deep. And, you know, fair enough. I want to just praise Rick Carlisle for being such a good, adaptive head coach. He saw that zone and said, okay, we're going to find ways to be effective from 3. We're going to run plays to get open looks for shooters, and we're going to make that the big highlight factor of our offense so we can break the zone. And, hey, lo and behold, they did. The Pacers very much dared the Cavaliers to run this zone. They said, okay, cool, do this again. We're raining 3s on them. And they did. Myles Turner, 4 of 4. Obi Toppin was huge for them this game. Myles Turner, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam. I think Myles Turner had 21. But all of them had 20 points. Tyrese Haliburton did not have a great offensive night. 11 points on 3 of 8 shooting. Doesn't matter. You're getting 20 points off the bench from Obi Toppin. And look, let's call a spade here. It's not the most conventional place where they thought they'd find their offense. It's not where they thought this was going to come from. But you'll take it. And I think Tyrese didn't even have to be the scorer. I don't think there's much more to say about this other than, yeah, they saw the zone coming. They said, we're shooting lights out. There's no way you're running this against us. So that's all I have to say for this series. They now have 3 chances to win this series. They have 3 games now to win 1. Who knows? Maybe it's a 2016 repeat. Maybe the Cavs find a way to come back from 3-1 down. But with Donovan Mitchell's injury, I'm not really sure. He looks like he tweaks his ankle during the halftime warm-ups. And whilst, okay, yeah, maybe there is something to that, I don't think it's a good idea for Kenny Atkinson to think, look, we're down 40. Why don't I just play Donovan Mitchell? No. You're down 40. Let him rest. Figure out what the diagnosis is. I think, it's 4 p.m., 5 p.m. the next day here in the UK. Okay, as I was going through getting the scores for the matches, breaking news, Donovan Mitchell is a game time decision for game 5. Yes, they need him, but I don't know how effective he's going to be. Coach Kenny Atkinson said he had no idea what Mitchell's status would be for game 5, but undergoing an MRI on Monday, so today, he's expected to be a game time decision. So if everything works out, he should be there. But they really need Donovan Mitchell. And not only do they need him to be in the game, but they need him to be effective. He's averaging 41.3 points in the second round heading into game 4. And game 4 wasn't the best for him beat, but I mean, it wasn't a good game for anyone in the Cavs. It does seem like, it says at the bottom here, it sounds like Mitchell's injury is nothing serious, but the fact that he has to now deal with a nagging ankle injury adds to the problems plaguing the Cavs. So who knows? I think he's definitely going to try and play because I think it's kind of his job. He has to. But this might be the death knell for the Cavs. I don't want this series to end because the best player in the series got injured. I think that would really suck. And it would suck for the Cavs, to be honest. There was a bit of chippiness, let's say, between DeAndre Hunter and Benedict Mathurin. And this has been stemming from game 1. I think it was because of a Benedict Mathurin block, DeAndre Hunter got hurt. So they're barking at each other the whole game. There is that moment where I guess Benedict Mathurin closed his fist and it's like a push off, but if you're pushing with a closed fist, it's a punch off, to be honest. DeAndre Hunter did not like that. Walks him down, pushes him on the floor, and Benedict Mathurin is ejected. And unlike a lot of young teams where that ejection would kind of rattle them, the Pacers kept their calm. Also, now that Evan Mobley's back, the big defensive lineup of Mobley and Allen, Mobley had 10 points, 5 rebounds and no assists, 2 turnovers and 1 steal on the night, 3 of 7 from the field, minus 27 in 27 minutes. And you look at those numbers and you think, okay, 10 points is all right. It is what it is. 2 of those field goals came when they were down 40. So those don't really matter now, does it? Jarrett Allen, 2-2-1, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 0 from 1 from the field. Very invisible. But I think as a whole, this Cavs team kind of just was invisible. I think other than that, there's not much to say here. Indiana should be coming out of this series. And it's weird to think that the top 3 seeds or the top 3 teams in the league that we all thought were going to be definite conference finals locks. OKC, Cleveland, Boston. Cleveland might be gone. They're as good as gone right now. They're 3-1 down. They're in a hole. Boston. Okay, yes, they got their game back against the Knicks. They go back to Madison Square Garden, see if they can take the series to 2-2, then my tone changes a bit. But for right now, they're 2-1 down. Anyway, let's get to OKC versus Denver, because in that first quarter, OKC put Denver in a hole. I think it was 17-8. Yeah, an 8-point first quarter for any team is rough. They shot 2 of 22 from the field, 0 of 14 from 3. Didn't look good for the Denver Nuggets. This is another game where you can look at Nikola Jokic and you can see he's struggling. And I know the stat line is great. It was 27, 13, and 3, or 20, 13, and 3, which not a great scoreline for him. Even down to his efficiency, I think he was 7 of 22 from the field. He shot under 40% for the last 3 games now. He has been struggling this series. I don't know if that's because Isaiah Hartenstein is the best Jokic stopper now. I feel like that title gets thrown every playoffs. The person who beats Jokic becomes the Jokic stopper, but it's not a one-man job. It's a whole team effort to make sure this man is not effective. Casey Wallace and Alex Caruso really stepped up for the OKC Thunder tonight. Very important in a game where Lu Dort is struggling. And Lu Dort can be effective in other ways. Yeah, I get it. On this night, not a great showing from him. Alex Caruso was dared to shoot, and he made them pay. Casey Wallace came in, just gave big, timely buckets when OKC really needed some points on the board. It's weird with this series because you came in, I think every one of us came into this series thinking MVP versus MVP. You know, this is one of these guys is the MVP and one is the runner-up. Shai hasn't been great for OKC and Jokic hasn't been great for Denver. So who wins? Because if that's your justifying factor, who really wins here? Shai has had spurts where you'll look at him and think, that's the MVP. That's an MVP caliber player. And it's the same with Jokic. Other than Jokic's game 1, I don't think either of them have really put in a performance where you're like, yeah, that's my guy. And it brings into the question about depth, because OKC, the reason why teams like OKC and Cleveland are really good is because they're deep off the bench. They can have players come off their bench who can give them good minutes, give them points off the bench, facilitate, play defense. The Denver Nuggets don't really have that. They don't have guys off their bench bar like Russ or Peyton Watson, that can really do something for you. Like they signed Darius Saric. Darius Saric hasn't played a minute. The reason why Denver, I think, has done very well in the playoffs so far is because of continuity. Played with the same guys for so many years now. They won a title together. They've been through multiple playoff series every year. So they've built a rapport between each of them where they've become so comfortable playing with each other. They know their faults. They know their tendencies, and it shows. But this is less of a battle between MVP candidate versus MVP candidate. This feels like depth versus continuity. This feels like both of these teams are trying to find ways through the other. Mark Dagenholt, yes, game 1, not a great coaching decision, but so far has understood when to bring the right players in and take players out. Okay, Lu Dort, you're not doing too well for us? Okay, cool. We've got choices here. David Adelman doesn't have that same luxury of, oh, there's this guy off our bench who we can bring in a pinch. There's this guy here. The Denver Nuggets don't really have that. Their players on the bench aren't there to play playoff minutes. This is like an 8-man lineup, you know? They're not going to play consistent minutes, which is really huge for OKC, especially because it feels like J-Dub hasn't shown his face yet in this playoffs, and that's a player who I thought would really step up his game. Chet wasn't that great in this one either, but I mean, Isaiah Hartenstein's doing amazing things for this team offensively and defensively, handling the Jokic assignment and then finding ways to be effective on the offensive end. But yeah, I think that's it for me yapping. I think I've yapped. Tonight we have, I think, Boston, New York, Minnesota, Golden State. So we'll be back tomorrow covering those games, but for now I must bid you adieu. Have a good one. Take good care of yourself. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave it a like. If you disliked it, hey, yeah, it happened. If you liked it that tiny bit more though, subscription will always be lovely. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye-bye now.